Hey everyone, welcome back to Gaming Channel Podcast. I'm Mike from Ration, and I'm once more joined by my partners in crime, Suzie from Suzie the Sawyer and Somnia from Somnia Stellarum. How y'all doing today?
Good. How are
Doing
you?
great.
Good, doing good. Today we're going to tackle a pretty hard topic for YouTube gamers. We're going to be talking about developing a YouTube proposition for a YouTube gaming channel. Sort of what that means and kind of the challenges that gamers face, when they're first getting started, especially when it comes to determining how you're going to grow your audience or what kind of value you're giving to them. Starting off today, we're going to be handing it off to Somnia. So go ahead, man.
Okay, so obviously we're going to be talking about what our value proposition is for our YouTube gaming channels, and this is definitely something that's come to us through, it's a term that's used in business, and we're trying to apply these business principles to our YouTube channels. So I can talk a little bit about how my channel specifically is trying to attract a specific audience. So the way that I try to look at my audience, I look at my audience as, I know it's a little bit of an older audience. It's not necessarily like a teenage audience. I know it's in that like 25 to 35 or 20 to 35 range. And I tend to view them as people who are dreamers. So that's why I call my viewers dreamers. You hear at the beginning of my videos now, I'm always saying hi dreamers. I'm always kind of talking specifically to them. And it's what I kind of imagine in my head is that it's people who are trying to look towards the future or to imagine a better future, or kind of like the dreamer. People are like the people who dream, like daydream in class. Like that's kind of the prototypical dreamer for me. I was definitely like that myself. So it's very similar to people that are like me. Like this is the type of person that I was, that I still am. And I'm always trying to think of new ways of doing stuff, kind of technically minded. And that's sort of the audience that I try to focus on. And now one thing that I found, and I found it was really sort of transformative, was something that Mike actually said in one of his mission vlogs, I think it was, where you said that by having sort of a niche, you were able to really attract people that you never thought you'd be able to attract. And I thought that was something that just blew my mind. And this really speaks to your value proposition. You get to give people a new perspective that they don't have themselves, or that they might not necessarily be looking for, but that perspective is what makes them interested in what you have to say. And I think that's really the key point for me, at least, is I can give people this perspective of being a dreamer, but then it'll attract people who aren't even dreamers. So do you want to keep going there, Mike, or?
Sure. Well, thank you for saying so. Yeah, I've definitely done like a lot of research. Honestly, it, as scary as it is, I've dedicated like kind of like the last 10 years of my life to really kind of researching topics like this, target audiences for entertainment, entertainment mediums, kind of on and off again. And, yes, I think one of the best things you can do if you're going to offer unique value is really just look around and try to determine, either through a secondary interest of your own or just something you really want, something you're really passionate about, something that can make you stand out from all the other channels that are out there. And I used Action Ration, I think, in that mission vlog, not meaning to sound pretentious, but for my case, it was like, well, what else do I love besides video games? Well, I love action movies from the 80s and 90s, as bad as they can be sometimes. So I try to incorporate that into everything, from just the presentation to the Thomsponator character that I portray. It's all about, I didn't see any other gaming channels out there that kind of had this, really, really macho edge to them. So I added that so I could make it stand out a little bit more. But that being said, for all the research I've done, I'm not sure if I even quite understand value proposition, how it pertains to a business, which is why I'm so glad we have Suzie with us today, who has a business of her own. It's got a little bit more perspective on that, don't you, Suzie?
Yeah. So in real life, I own a business and I specialize in making kind of upscale custom cakes, kind of centering on making wedding cakes. And I know, so when I first began my business, I've been a business owner now for 5 years. I kind of went into it not really knowing a whole lot about marketing. After reading a couple different things, I was pretty sure that everybody was my target market because which is kind of like trying to focus on a value proposition by trying to find who you're targeting. I was pretty sure everybody was because everybody needed a cake. Everybody needs birthday cakes. Most people end up needing different types of cakes for anniversaries or different showers, wedding showers, baby showers. But after a couple years of business, I was kind of able to settle on some different factors that I believe are key in trying to market my product, especially because I face a little bit of a unique challenge, a unique challenge of providing cakes that are more expensive than any other cake shop in my area by almost like 100 miles. So when you're offering a product that's more expensive than somebody can get elsewhere, like say Walmart or your average grocery store, how do you get that person that wants to buy that cake? So some kind of unique targeting that I do is that I've kind of settled on the fact that my ideal customer is between the ages of 24 and 34, and I'm targeting specifically women who are engaged to be married or are in a long-term relationship that they could possibly be getting engaged and getting married, or young mothers who are between that age range as well. And to kind of further narrow down that demographic, I aim at women who have college degrees and also have careers because they have more disposable income. And then hobbies like traveling. Specifically traveling is one that I almost constantly use because women of that age range that are able to travel actually have a higher disposable income and so that also make like being well traveled in general means that you are seeking experiences as opposed to products. And so that woman understands that a custom cake that might cost her $200 to $300 for her daughter's birthday is getting a quality product that is going to make the experience better overall for her daughter's birthday, as opposed to wanting a cheap cake from Walmart. So does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so that and then there are some other different hobbies and whatnot that I can sometimes add in there, particularly being interested in certain types of sporting activities like hiking and camping. Also being interested in kind of riding bikes, which sounds a little weird, but all the equipment for those items are also kind of on the pricey side, especially if you're an avid rider or an avid hiker. And so people who spend a lot on those types of products are spending a lot on products that are good quality so they can have a good quality experience, which all kind of ties back in again. So
interesting. That's that's really, really cool that how you arrived there. So you would almost say that your value proposition for your business is really delivering a quality high-end cake that's more about the experience than just the presentation, just getting the job done.
Right. And also kind of increasing my prices in such a way allows me to provide kind of like when somebody comes in and schedules a cake, if they meet a certain amount, they will be the only person that I book for that week, so that I can give that kind of individual attention to what they need. I don't want to like jinx myself, so knock on wood, but at this point I've not had any negative reviews on my business, which is kind of unheard of. And I use a lot of different like social media tools that listen for your name specifically being used in other places on the internet. Reviews that you may have gotten on websites that you're not even aware of. It can also even track and monitor different Facebook postings. So if somebody like posts on their Facebook page like, oh my gosh, I had this cake and it was terrible from this business, it would show me that. I wouldn't be able to read any further, but I could see that there was that negative, or I can see when somebody posts something really positive on the other side. So far, no negative reviews. So yeah, definitely important to narrow that down, no matter what sort of business you're dealing with, and treating your channel a little like a business in this way will definitely help you get into the mindset that this is, for me, the way that I treat it like a business means that it's a little bit more important than, oh, it's just my gaming channel. Well, having set it up like a business, I know I have like deadlines to meet and whatnot, so it makes it a little bit more important. So
yeah, I'm glad that you mentioned all that, or kind of segued into that, because I think a lot of things that kind of affect new YouTubers, who want start gaming channels, successful gaming channels, is that there's two things out there. One, there's a lot of people out there who really just have a gaming channel for a creative outlet, and it's their creative outlet. They do whatever they want and they just have fun. And a lot of people, they have a tendency to go, okay, I mean, if the people who really want to see, their channel grow, they look at that and they go, well, everyone else is just doing whatever they want. And they even kind of think of that. They look at the big channels and they go, well, so-and-so does whatever they want. And it's really not true. If you really take it, a look at these big channels, like let's just take the big two that everyone is always mentioning, PewDiePie and Markiplier. PewDiePie, really, his personality and the games he usually plays typically, apply to younger audience, a teenage audience. If you kind of the same way with Markiplier, I mean, his YouTube channel typically either plays scary games or he plays, almost casual funny games. So there is a strategy that he has there, and there are particular games that they are playing, to reach their audience. And even then, my YouTube channel is just, it's really about me, my personality. That's the unique value I bring to it. To that, I kind of say that's fantastic. And I don't think there's anything wrong with, developing a YouTube channel around your personality. I just think that it has been done. You know,
Right.
there's a lot of people out there that have developed YouTube channels around their personalities. What else do you have that you're going to bring to the table to kind of hook people to, to come in and keep watching?
Right. And technically on the topic of PewDiePie, I don't actually watch any of his videos, but I do subscribe to him, and I'm always kind of checking out what his videos are about. And one thing that I think he is really, really great on is targeting trends before they're trends. And so he's getting in on different things that are trendy, especially to teenagers, right as they're beginning to kind of climb in popularity, so that he seems like he's bringing that originally, and then he's able to kind of ride that. And I mean, that's definitely, it's a good tactic to do. And
And at the size he is now, he might actually be leading that trend a bit too.
Right.
Like, just mentioning it probably makes it grow because it's PewDiePie and he's so big now. And but you probably did. You're probably right. He probably grew like that, but now it's almost flipped on its head there.
Yeah.
Yeah, but there's definitely, for him to be able to do that, he would have had to be doing so much research and into what he wanted to play before he even played it. So it's not just it's not just people playing games, playing whatever they want to play and hoping their charming personality is going to carry the day. There are very, very in-depth strategies that people employ to grow a gaming channel, and it really kind of all starts with who do you want to reach and what exactly are they going to take away from it. Yeah. So if you all had to kind of narrow it down, to like what is a value proposition for a YouTube channel, or how do you discover your value proposition for your channel? Is there any advice both of you could give to the audience?
Well, I would start with your ideal customer. You don't necessarily need to know exactly what that customer is into or whatnot, but I think especially for a gaming channel, generally the target market tends to be males between the ages of 18 and 35. And that's a really broad age range. You're definitely targeting, I think, other gamers and people who like to play video games. I do have to add that coming up with a value proposition for a gaming channel is definitely one of the more difficult things that I've ever had to do. And I still am not as targeted as I am with my customers that I'm catering to with my business. So, Somnia?
I think it like Mike was saying, you not everybody's going to be able to build a channel off of their personality, but your personality will kind of lead you to what you can do as far as your channel is concerned, and lead you to the gaming or the value proposition that you'll have. So somebody like me, I'm a very technically oriented person, and I'm an engineer by training. I went to university for that. So I know how to kind of analyze a situation and kind of make decisions off of that. So when I play a game like Minecraft, I'm kind of bringing that experience with me. So I'm not likely going to be somebody like PewDiePie who is able to get people to sub to me because my fantastic personality is so bubbly and exuberant. That's just not who I am. But I can be a little bit more like somebody like Direwolf20 who can get into mods or get into technical bits of a game and kind of showcase those parts. And so I think everybody, you kind of have to start it up and see where it leads you, and your value proposition will probably change as you go as well. So I think that's really the advice that I would say is maybe not worry about it is right at the beginning, but get into it and kind of consider it and continually revise it and go back to it.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I think I'm sorry. I think a really good tip to kind of follow too as you're developing your value proposition is, like, I know specifically from like Twitter, where I do a lot of my social sharing and whatnot, and channel growth, all that good stuff, is kind of keeping an eye on who are your followers and what are they into and what are they wanting, and kind of going from there. So
yeah, I think that excellent advice from both of you. If I was going to add anything, kind of riffing off what Somnia said, yes, I mean, you definitely want to pull from your personality. I mean, I don't want anyone to think that, well, Mike from Action Ration says my personality's right out. No, I mean, you do want to pull from your personality and your interests, but you definitely want to decide who your ideal customer is, and definitely play to their interests as well. And realize, I mean, it is hard for gaming channels because what you're offering is entertainment, and like many gaming or many YouTube gurus will tell you, they're like, well, like, what are you going to teach people? What problems are you going to solve? You're like, I'm a gaming channel. I just, want to play some games and have people hang out with me. Right? It's tough.
Yeah.
But when you start thinking a bit about it in terms of, why do people watch sports? Why do people watch late night, talk show hosts? Why are people, watching videos of games being played? It starts to make a bit more sense that you can entertain people, but you do need to decide who you want to entertain. And when you decide how you're going to, what exactly you're going to entertain them with, and really kind of develop a strategy for your content itself. Because what you don't want to do is kind of just play to that audience about half the time, and then the rest of the time you're playing to, a whole nother market. Because that, just being split like that, it won't help you in the end.
Yeah.
Or I guess I could also say trying to play to all market. Your target audience cannot be gamers. What kind of gamers? There's gamers out there, they're like, playing Candy Crush, and there's gamers out there who are like playing retro games. I mean, who exactly are you trying to talk to?
Right. An agrario, that's a big one right now.
Yeah.
Which just drives me up the wall. Just putting that out there. That's just a personal preference, but...
So you heard it here first. Suzie the Sawyer said, if you want to grow your gaming channel, don't use agrario. How do you say that again?
I think it's agrario, but
agrario?
I'm not sure.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, at least if I'm your target market,
Yes, don't be careful about micro niches too. If your targeting audience is one specific person, well, I don't know. If you get that person to watch it, then I guess you're successful.
True.
So, anyways, we're probably about out of time for today. Thank you all again so very much for listening and watching another episode of the Gaming Channel podcast. Once again, I was Mike from Action Ration, joined by Suzie the Sawyer and Somnia Stellarum. You can check out our channels by visiting the links in the description below, and we'll see you all next time for more tips and advice on how you can grow your own gaming channels. Thanks, everybody.
Bye.
See you guys later.